Welcome. Welcome to this masterclass called Nourish Your Legacy. Welcome to those of you who are joining live. I'm so grateful that you're taking some time out of your day, and welcome to those of you who are joining whenever you're accessing. I'm going to be sharing the recording of this. So for those of you that are here live, I will send the recording to you, and I'll be sending it out in an email. And for those of you who are joining whenever, you are perfectly on time. And that's a bit of what we're going to be talking about and exploring today, is the ways in which you are perfectly on time to your legacy. So I want first, just for those of you who are live, to go ahead and set your chat setting to everyone, so that if you do share a chat, we can all see it. And notice that the chat is just at the bottom or the side of your screen, wherever it is that you have that. And if you would too, if you're here live, I'd love for you to just share where you're joining from so we can connect. And that's one of the beauties of this interactive connection, is to not just, I think of myself and my work in many ways as a magnet to bring lighthearted, like-hearted and sometimes lighthearted people together. I say sometimes because I think that many of you who resonate with my work are very interested in exploring the both and of joy, the darkness, the hardship, as well as the brightness and the light, in the same way that a diamond is always set against a black velvet background to really allow its vibrancy to pop. It's acknowledging the truth in all of its multi-sidedness, right? The challenges, the disappointments, the darkness of our life, as well as the brilliance and the radiance of it. So I think of you very much as my heart tribe. I have today this, my heart word candle glowing and filling the room with its beautiful Palo Santo. And I made these candles earlier this year, and I just put them up on my store at shop.nicolemoline.com. And I want to read to you actually the definition of heart word. Moving from the still center. This definition is written little tiny on the candle. Heart word, moving from the still center through noise, through darkness, through resistance, to the heartbeat, the ache, the vision, however quiet, however fearful, that is yours for all. That is my definition of legacy. My definition of legacy is living heartwardly, dropping into connecting with my unique spiritual DNA, which is playing only once in this universe, right? And living in a heart direction. So not so much forward, not so much backward, not so much sideways, north, south, east, west, but heartwardly. Where is the heart leading? Where is spirit calling? When we think about legacy, first of all, I want to actually just throw this word out to us today, to take a deep breath into this word, legacy. How does the word legacy feel in your body? I feel maybe unsurprisingly, I feel a weightiness in the word legacy. I feel it is a word that's worthy of the length of our lives, right? It's a word that's worthy of our breath, of our soul. It's a word that's big enough for this kind of unnameable feeling, unnameable thing that we want to leave as an imprint of our lives on everyone that we encounter, as an ongoing thing, and as a kind of sum total of what it is that we've brought to this world. I love actually to think about legacy in terms of an everyday practice, how are you practicing legacy? And I love, for those of you who are here live, and it may take you a moment as we're kind of sitting with this word, I'd love to hear what legacy means to you. So during the course of this conversation, of this masterclass, I'd love for you to just share in the chat as you start to kind of feel into this word legacy. The occasion for this masterclass is the course that I'm leading for the 5th time live, WEIGHTY, which is my signature course. And for a while, I've created different courses over the years. The first one was Oath, and Oath had, of its 4 modules, it's still available actually at alter.nicolemoline.com. And within its 4 modules, one of the modules was called Feast. And of the 4 modules, that module like lit a fire in the community. There was so much conversation, there were so many questions, and there was so much ache. There was so much pain. There was so much bravery that particular module unleashed. And so I knew right away, wow, this conversation belongs somewhere. This conversation belongs somewhere where it can expand and where we can really be feeling out all of the contours of what it means to feast. How does that word feel in your body? I'm curious, and especially at this time of the year, does feast come with a sense of like overconsumption, a sense of shame, a sense of kind of like loss of energy? And I love, actually, this is the 5th time that I've led the course WEIGHTY. We're going to be beginning on November 28th, and registration will be open until then. However, I'm going to be doing a special session, a bonus session, before we formally begin, before day 1 of the 28-day journey. I'm going to do a bonus session on November 21st, next Monday, to really set us up for this week of Thanksgiving. And to set us up in general, and this whole course is going to be taking place in the context of the holiday season. And so for so many of us, the holidays this time of year is a time of, you're probably already receiving these kinds of messages, emails, I'll get back to you after the holidays. And we can start to say that to every part of our lives, right? I'll get to it after the holidays. I will eat in a way that supports my energy and my vision of who I'm becoming after the holidays, right? And there's a way in which this holiest, like sweetest, one of, the kind of like holiest, sweetest, coziest times of the year can have this like underbelly, this kind of shadow of regret, shame, mostly of disconnection from our truest, highest selves, that we kind of like put that self on hold, while we're like reveling and over-consuming in all kinds of ways. Over-consuming in shopping. This is like the week where that begins, right? Over-consuming in the ways that we're eating. And you know what it's like when you kind of like check out one part of you. And there's that sense of, I am not integrated. I am not fully present. I'm not proud of the person I am who's showing up to this gathering, to this feast, to this whatever. So I actually love, and I know that there's a challenge to be launching WEIGHTY for a 5th time at this time of the year when everyone's like, I'll get back to you. Talk to me in January, right? But I actually really love offering this journey as a container for going through the holiday season with integrity, with intention, and getting very clear, and this is what I'm going to be talking about on Monday, getting very clear on what it is that makes the holiday season most sacred to you. We can kind of think that is, gifts or a sense of like overabundance, maybe a kind of like feasting and like all the rules are off and I'm just, eating and drinking whatever I want. But like, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's it for you. Great, right? But if it's not, if there are practices, ceremonies, rituals, experiences that will actually make this season truly sacred and joyful for you, what are those, first of all? And what are the kinds of boundaries that you want to put up around other parts of your life or practices or mindset that's actually going to protect that experience of this sweet time for you? So, and also I love to, so from here forward, every offering of WEIGHTY will be a lifetime access to that version of the course. So I always add new live sessions and new content to every version of the course. But when you join, you'll have access for that version forever. So if this is calling to you, and you also are like, this is a busy time of year, I don't know if I can fully participate, what I love is for you to jump in now, because you'll have all of this content. We're going to get into what that is in a moment. You're going to have all of it now, so you can start to trickle through it at your own pace, and you can come into January having either completed the 28 days, robust, showed up, did it, or you got all of the background information and teaching. And when you have the space that you need to really go through this 28-day journey, great. And you'll have that wisdom and those juicy questions. That's really my job in the world, is to ask juicy questions that open your heart, connect you to your heart, connect you to your mission and your vision. So you're going to have all of these in the ether, like in the air of your life, as you're going through this holiday season. So I do want to challenge you, even if it feels like, really, this right now? Why not January? No, let's do it now. Let's, especially at this time of the year that is so much about reflection, hopefully so much about gratitude, about ceremony and celebration. Let's, at this time of the year, most deeply connect with our integrity. When I made a podcast episode over the weekend called Canyoning, which if you haven't heard it, it's about 10 minutes. It's sweet. It's just a meditation. And on I think the experience of loss and fear that many of us are in right now, given our global climate, especially our global economic climate. And in that podcast, at the end of it, I talk a little bit about WEIGHTY, and I just mention that this is this invitation for connection with our integral self, our deepest self. Let's stare down the dragon, is what I said. So for many of us, the holidays, again, are this time where we're kind of like putting the deepest parts of ourselves and our like holy discipline on hold. And I want to invite you to really go through this season in integrity and mindfulness. And especially one of the things so WEIGHTY is aimed at a couple of goals. Number one, really getting clear on your legacy. That's a big enough why to make difficult changes. For so many of us, our motivation to change in some way is external to ourselves. It's meeting up to, if I just looked this way, if I was just at this weight, if I conformed to this expectation, then I could go after this thing. I could feel I'll have the kind of love, I'll have the kind of success, I'll have the kind of courage and bravery that I don't have because I don't look that way. And that's all external, right? But the deeper why, which is, here is my legacy in the world. Here's the legacy that I'm actively creating day to day. How can I fuel myself for maximum energy toward my legacy? Whoa, that's a big enough why, right? When I'm tempted to revert to different kinds of consumption, and I'm going to say it that broadly because this could relate to food, drink, media, thought patterns that we allow to take up space in our brain rent-free. All of these forms of consumption, they exist in my life for a reason, right? And this is one of the things that we really talk about in WEIGHTY, is the way that you can change. And what's wonderful about WEIGHTY is we're in a way using food and nutrition and our nourishment and our practices around it as a lens to like get in here, to really look at the larger issues of our lives. So one of the things that we explore in the course is radical compassion. There's kind of two motivations to change. There's two motivations that we can have to change. And one is judgment, criticism, fear. You know what this feels like. You've had a boss that used that kind of cocktail to motivate you, or maybe a partner that hopefully you did not spend much time with, got out of that fast, I hope. You've had friendships, you've had maybe parents or whatever, any kind of relationship in your life that tries to motivate you negatively, motivate you through fear, through judgment, through threats of whatever kind. And for so many of us, and a lot of what WEIGHTY is about is actually just very sweetly and curiously listening into the voices that are going on in our head and discovering what those are. Like sometimes you're not even aware of how negatively and judgmentally or threateningly even you might talk to yourself. And so we shift into this mode of total curiosity and total compassion to even see like, what am I? What are the stories I'm telling myself? What is that voice inside my head? And guess what? I'm in charge of that, right? I get to change that. I get to shift that. I get to practice new ways first of speaking to myself. And that is what informs change. So anyway, two ways to motivate. You've got the negative motivation. You also have like positive, like cheerleading motivation when you have been around someone. And I hope that this is my greatest hope, is that I get to serve this role for all of you. You know what it feels like to have a cheerleader, someone who's like, I see who you are and I celebrate it as is. Who you are is amazing. And I also see what you could become. Like I see how you could continue to bloom and grow. Yes, let's do it. Like I can feel the difference in my body right now. When you have someone who is so proud of you and also calling you into your greatness, calling you into your legacy, that is something that I want to be around all the time, right? That can become a lifestyle. That kind of growth and change that's positively motivated, that's rooted into this like massive epic vision of your legacy is powerful enough. It's a big enough why for uncomfortable change. So that's a lot of what we explore in the beginning of WEIGHTY, is like really clarifying what are the voices at play and how can you begin to practice? Because the good news is that change is a practice. What we practice, we become. And so little by little, and in a community of cheerleaders, we're gonna kind of fumble our way into the kinds of thought patterns, the kind of mindset that's gonna allow us to live in a place that believes, first of all, in our legacy, believes in who we are and who we are becoming. And I want to fuel that woman exquisitely, right? You want to fuel that version of you exquisitely, and you want to fuel that thought pattern exquisitely. So that's a bit of what we explore in WEIGHTY. And then of course there's a meal plan, there's a whole conversation around nutrition, which is approached in the spirit of experiment versus this is the way. We're all individual bodies. Every single one of our bodies is a different chemistry, is a different hormonal playground, right? So I share, WEIGHTY is a blend of nutrition science, of invitation to experiment, all in the spirit of we are all individuals, and there's no right diet. There's no one right way to eat and to fuel. A big part, one of my main motivations in developing this course is coming at weight loss from a loving, joyful mindset of belief and play. Whoa, revolutionary, right? Never heard of this before. versus all the other stuff that we've seen around this. Coming at many people who come into WEIGHTY have the goal of weight loss or have the goal of, they just know that the way that they eat right now does not fuel them. They don't feel great. They don't feel great in their bodies. And there's a sense that, like, I think nutrition has something to do with that. It's maybe not so much about losing weight or even like gaining weight. There's definitely been some folks who come into it with like, I am not eating in a way that's allowing me to be as strong as I know that I want to be. So there's a whole kind of contingent of folks who come into WEIGHTY out with these goals of first, redefining their mindset towards their bodies, our mindset toward our bodies. And I had never seen, and I've supported so many people on a weight loss journey or on a nutrition shifting journey. And I've never seen a program that came at this from the spirit of positivity, joy, body love, body celebration, because it's actually, when we talk a lot in WEIGHTY about the relationship between stress and toxicity in our bodies, and how our bodies are actually not going to allow us to change. Our bodies are going to resist change. They're going to resist something like weight loss when we create a stressful environment in our bodies. This is all a whole hormonal cascade that happens. So a lot of what we talk about is how to create this kind of lush parasympathetic versus sympathetic. The nervous system has two modes, the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, how to create a kind of environment starting in your mind and then trickling down to your body, to your space, to your whole family, that tells everyone we're safe. We can rest, we can digest, we can lose weight, we can gain muscle, we can heal in all the ways because we're safe to heal. So there's a whole meal plan and conversation around nutrition, conversation around the tool of intermittent fasting, if that's something that you choose to experiment with, but from the unique perspective of being in love with the miracle of your body, rather than being frustrated with it, punishing it, all of those kinds of negative mentalities that we know about. There's another component of the course is, to many people, the most valuable experience of the whole thing. And so many people have told me these meditations alone are worth the price of the course, which brings so much joy to my heart because I spent a lot of time on them and I had so much fun creating them. There's 28 daily audio meditations that are all under 10 minutes, and they are a point of mindset set for your day. So when you go through the 28 days, and you could do this on your own time, it doesn't have to be 28 consecutive days, right? It doesn't have to be anything, but this resource is there for you. And that meditation journey actually has sparked some of the others that I've created, like Cocoon, which is a 9-day meditation, and Catalyst, which is an 8-day meditation. These are all on my website, NicoleMoline.com. But really, it was this WEIGHTY journey that was the first meditation journey, all audio, that I created. So there's the audio meditation journey. There's a whole video library on demand of these resources, conversations, teaching about mindset, about body image, all of it, nutrition. And that's all for you to watch whenever you want. But there are also 5 live interactive sessions like this one, where you get to ask your questions, and I get to be fully and totally on your team and engaging with the specific issues that you are taking on through this course. For some of us, those are very much body related. For others, you're using the container of this course to open up to healing in all kinds of different areas. So that is, and then of course there's the WEIGHTY workbook, which is an option for you. Gorgeousness. I can't believe that it takes you through every single day of the course with these juicy journaling questions and little quotes and things thrown in. And somehow I got on this live without grabbing the meal plan, which I'll grab at the end just to show you. But that's also, you can have the download, you'll have the downloadable version of the meal plan within the course, but also there's a printed version that you can order as well. And and then the community is a huge element of this whole journey, and the WEIGHTY community through each version of the course has grown. And so now it's this beautiful contingent of souls from all over the place. And many of you have found each other as soul friends through this course. So that's been such a gift. I want to make sure that as I'm just introducing all of this, that if there are any specific questions about WEIGHTY or questions about whether it's right for you, right now, to clarify the anything on the registration page. And I'm going to share my screen with you real quick. So I just want to throw that out. Go ahead and ask any questions in the chat, and just so I can make sure to see those. But I'm going to share my screen with you to show you the course website. Here we go. Oh, it's taking you to my my much more crowded desktop. Oh, I have to adjust something in settings. So the one thing that's important to say is that so the course website gives you all of these resources, and that's accessible from your desktop or from your phone. And Zoom is telling me that I have to quit it before I share my screen, so I guess I'm not going to be doing that. But the course website is beautiful. I designed it to be this to itself be a beautiful experience. You can also, and this is what I was going to say that's important, is that there's an app that allows you to access everything on your phone or on a mobile device. And so that's also really nice with the audio meditations for you to be able to access those anytime you want. Again, that content would be yours forever. And that's something you can very much take on the go, right? Take on a walk or listen to in the car when you're driving or something. So I want to look at some of your definitions of legacy that you've shared. Thank you. Monica says, legacy, the imprint of my DNA that I sprinkled onto the earth, the seeds that I planted that are yet to be sowed, the seeds that bloomed and share their brilliance. Wow. Wow, that is beautiful. The seeds that bloomed and share their brilliance. Yeah, it's so, I love thinking of our DNA, right? Which is like all of these individual little molecules that are strung along this spiral of a molecule, right? As like individual little seeds. They totally are. Kendra says, legacy, to share resilience, empathy, adaptability, and growing from roots. Oh, that's so beautiful. Love. So I wanted to keep this masterclass focused, concise. I'm going to riff a little bit more on legacy as we go into the holidays, but I do want to say, if you have any questions about WEIGHTY, I'm not seeing any in particular coming through, which might be a good thing. I tried hard to make sure that the course website, which I'm going to put into the chat, the registration page, NicoleMoline.com/WEIGHTY, WIGHTY, was really robust and detailed and has testimonials on there as well. So you can see all kinds of other folks' experiences of the journey. As we go into the holidays, one thing that I've been thinking about, and especially with being on the cusp of starting a new journey of WEIGHTY, one thing I've been thinking about is we can tend to think about this time of year passively, like what's going to happen? What's going to happen this holiday season? Maybe that was rooted in us as kids, where our parents kind of created the holidays for us, and we just like showed up and partook, right? But you know, one thing that in the Altar Together membership right now, which is all the details for that are at NicoleMoline.com/altar. In the Altar Together membership this month, we're exploring the theme of ceremony, which feels right for this time of year, this end of the year. our holiday gatherings, we don't often think of them as ceremonies, but that's what they are. And they are that regardless of how we show up. We're observing different rituals, we're observing different traditions, as casual as they might be. But a ceremony calls for a leader. A ceremony calls for an officiant, a creator. We've all had the great experience. And I think of my courses and my retreats as versions of this, I always hope, as we've all had the experience of attending a gathering, a party, a wedding, some sort of, a dinner party that is intentional. And where like the, details have been thought through and created intentionally. And this can happen on like a grand scale of a wedding, where it's just like down to the like smallest little detail of like the whatever is tied around the napkins, and you're just kind of in awe of the level of detail. And of course that takes a lot of planning and energy and all of it. But even something as simple as having a dinner party, going out to dinner with friends, so simple, so like easy, and coming into the dinner with some conversation prompts, being like, hey, I wonder if tonight we could talk about this question. When was the last time you were really proud? Or what are you creating right now? Or what's broken your heart this year? And how have you also found hope, right? Like, whoa, to go to a gathering that has that kind of, as casual as it might be, where someone is bringing in ceremony, a holy communal experience where we get to connect heart to heart. And in the same way, we can kind of tend to think about the holiday season from this like passive sense of what's going to happen, what's that person going to give me as a gift, what's the gathering is there going to be anything special about the gathering that I'm going to, how am I going to be surprised or delighted or in wonder? And we can forget the fun and the joy of actually creating versus passivity, right? Of like deciding to be the one, deciding to be the officiant, the master of ceremonies, the mistress of ceremonies, the creator of these kinds of experiences. And in the creating, we experience that wonder. So I'm kind of using the holiday season right now as this little microcosm of what it means to live on a daily basis, creating legacy, creating impact, bringing intentionality to how you are shaping, how you get to shape your experience. So and of course, this can apply to, we can kind of shift into that mode of passivity in how we're consuming, how we're shopping, how we're eating, how we're drinking, how we're telling ourselves, we can tell ourselves in all these different ways, this time doesn't count. I don't have to show up, in my fullness, like in my radiance, in my integrity, because this is kind of anything goes right now. But I want to challenge us. I'm challenging myself this very much to first think about, and we're going to talk about this much more on Monday night. I have a bunch of great examples for you guys I'm excited to share in the WEIGHTY bonus session. What is it that truly has felt full of the sacred and full of wonder in your experience of the holidays, of this like reflective end of the year time of year as you think back over your life? And how could you be the creator of those kinds of experiences, the kinds of experiences that you want to have? How could you create the meals that you want to have? Maybe it's about bringing that healthy, energizing, like high, we're going to talk a lot this round of WEIGHTY about high vibration foods, bringing the high vibration foods so that they're there for you because you brought them, right? And how, as you think in a much grander way about legacy, and I love both Monica and Kendra's definitions of it, the imprint of DNA that is sprinkled onto the earth as seeds, or sharing resilience, empathy, adaptability, and growing from the roots. So however it is that you define legacy, how can you express that this time of year, and especially start to build a bridge toward 2023 and all that we're going to be creating and calling in together? So how can you nourish your legacy? How can you nourish your legacy? My loves, so good to connect. And I'm going to really be carrying these definitions of legacy that you shared close to my heart. I would love to connect and lead you through this journey of transformation at the end of the year, in taking this kind of rebel stance. Like, we are going to claim these next 6 weeks as a sacred cocoon of transformation and a bridge momentum into 2023. So I would love to lead you with me in WEIGHTY. I almost said legacy. I think of it as the same thing. The way that the WEIGHTY got its name is, and I'm wanting to kind of like shift our way of thinking about weight, which for so many of us has a negative connotation. Again, that's like that external value system that we've absorbed, and to claim it as our own, and to change our thinking about it. So first and foremost, all I know is that I want to be weighty. I want my life to weigh in on this world. The way that WEIGHTY got its name is in learning about the history of yoga. Years ago, I landed on this sentence that kind of took my breath away. One definition of the word guru is a weighty one, a heavy one, a person of substance, a person who, like, they walk into the room and there's a reverberation. And that is the company that I want to keep. That is the woman that I want to become, is a woman of weight, a woman of substance, who is so aligned with my heart and moving and living in a heartward direction that the reverberations can be felt infinitely. So that is who we are becoming in WEIGHTY. From my heart to yours, an invitation to join. Gratitude for you, your presence here right now. And my deepest hope is, if WEIGHTY is calling to you right now, this round, beautiful, NicoleMoline.com/WEIGHTY, let's do it. If not, I hope that this conversation has sparked in you some vision for especially these next 6 weeks of this year that we're in, these last 6 weeks, and sparked in you. I trust that Spirit is, even now, as we've like cracked this door open with these questions, unfurling in you a vision of your legacy, unfurling in you a vision of you in your radiance, you embodied fully. Big love. So much gratitude for you. I'm here for your questions and whatever else on social media, or at Nicole@NicoleMoline.com.